Hey everybody, if you are familiar with Worlds Without Number or Stars Without Number, take a look at Cities Without Number. It's finally out from Kevin Crawford. This is the free edition of it. He always puts out a free edition of his games. This one here is 227 pages. Of course, I'll have a link down in the description if you want to pick it up. If you want to pick up the actual book, it's 262 pages. It's going to cost you about 25 bucks for the PDF and about 65 bucks if you want it in print with the PDF. So let's take a look at it. It is free, so why not pick it up? It's got a lot of stuff if you want to try a cyberpunk type game. So we're going to have a little intro here. It's going to tell you about Worlds Without Number and Stars Without Number. They do kind of, if you want to mix them a little bit, you can. I like this here, what GMs need to do and what players need to do, and then what both players need to do to come along to play this game. I would say focus on what the players need to do, because I think that's one of the most detrimental things of the game now in 2023. The first one here being they need to be there to play. Phones and electronics are put away, television gets turned off, and lengthy side conversations about the local sports team are put aside. So yes, that is first and foremost. Then we're going to talk about character generation. You're going to play a operator with this game. You've got your normal attributes, you've got your modifiers that you know, and you're going to have certain skills. Basic competency is going to be level 0, going up to level 4, meaning you're one of the best. And you're going to have skill checks, of course. This is going to be pretty interesting. It says to roll a skill check, roll 2d6 and add the most applicable attribute modifier and the skill level. And you're going against the DC. If you haven't got a level 0 and a relevant skill, you take a -1 penalty to the roll. So that's pretty cool. Here's the skill list here. A lot of stuff you probably know. There is program for operating or hacking computing and communications hardware. So that's good. A lot of stuff you've probably seen before, but it's good that it's in here. Connect, administer, fix, heal, survive, talk, trade, work. And then choosing a background. This is very interesting. So you can roll D20 to roll up a background, like a bum, bureaucrat, a criminal, doctor, a drone jockey, manager, outlander, whatever the case may be. And here's some of them. We're going to look at bum. So the first thing you're going to get is a free skill. So the bum's going to get a survive at 0. He's competent at surviving. Now, if you just want to go ahead and get 2 skills that are kind of based off the bum, you get these quick skills, connect and sneak. Or you can go back here and you can either pick 2 other skills from the learning table for your background or make 3 random rolls divided between the growth and learning tables. So you could get some bonuses to some of your stats, or you can get some more skills. Very cool. And you can see here are the rest of those backgrounds. And then we've got contacts that come in 2 degrees, acquaintances and friends. You start playing knowing either 2 acquaintances or 1 friend, and it helps you create those. Example contacts, the start of a relationship. Just these tables alone is worth picking up, especially if you want to play a cyberpunk type game. I mean, look at all these tables here. 1 roll contact tables. You can use this 1 roll table to sketch out the basics of your operator's friend. Their general social circles, your last significant interaction, how did you first meet them. Very cool stuff to help create that character. And then you've got edges, special talents or aptitudes. It's got the underdog rule. Some players who randomly roll attributes for their PC have impressively bad luck. Yes, they do. Yet despite their subnormal aptitudes, these desperate men and women have somehow become operators anyway. There must be something special about them if they've managed to get this far without getting themselves killed. Because of this, PCs whose total attribute modifiers are negative get a bonus edge. I think that's great. So instead of just the ones that you get, because you normally get 2, you're going to be able to get a bonus one if you have bad stats. Great. Operator edges, here we go. Hacker, hard to kill, killing blow. A lot of these are going to affect how you do combat. Prodigy, veteran's luck, voice of the people, great stuff. You got foci here, skills and gear from foci. These are going to be, it says, your operator's edges define their basic toolkit, the talents they have that are fundamental to how they contribute to a mission success. Your character is more than their minimal competencies. However, each operator has their own set of aptitudes and knacks, which may or may not be related to their main role. These aptitudes are their foci. So here you go, focus list. You got an ace driver. They've got multiple levels here. Alert, all natural. These are going to be more pretty much like talents. Close combatant, diplomat, drone pilot, many faces, specialist, sniper's eye, stuff like that. Then you got hit points, attack bonuses, and saves. So pretty normal stuff here. Our attack bonuses, our saving throws. We've got several here. We've got physical, evasion, mental, and luck saves. And then you've got your starting gear. You can pretty much pick one of these, I believe. It says if you don't want to spend time shopping the equipment tables and new operator, you can just pick one of the packages below. I like that. That's good. And then final touches, you get a free bonus skill, record weapons and armor, choose starting languages, pick a name, goal, and ties. And then here's sample cyberware packages. I also like this a lot. That way you can just get the cyberware that you want very quickly to get you playing. And then here we go with the rules of the game now. Glancing through this, there is a couple things you need to pay attention to that's going to make this a little bit different, stand out, or whatever the case may be. Now, I'm not going to reference this if this is similar to a Worlds Without Number or Stars Without Number. I'm just going to tell you about it here because I'm not sure exactly if these are the same in those other games. So you've got your attacks, you've got your combat round, you've got making an attack. It's going to tell you if it's a main action, an instant action, things like that. All this stuff is pretty normal, standard stuff that you're going to need. Now, here's something that's important. It's shock damage. Because there's a couple things when it comes to damage and how your characters heal and stuff like that that needs to be shown to you. So it says some melee attacks inflict shock, the inevitable harm that is done when an unarmored target is assailed by something sharp in melee range. Shock damage applies only on a miss in combat. On a hit, the weapon does its usual damage. Shock for a weapon is listed in points of damage and the maximum AC affected. Thus, shock 2/15 means that 2 points of damage are done to any target with AC 15 or less. That's if you miss. Assailants add their weapon's attribute modifier to the shock, along with any damage bonuses that are explicitly noted as adding to shock. Damage bonuses that do not specifically add to shock are omitted. An attack never does less damage on a hit than it would do in shock. So interesting little add to there. You've got this. Rules for execution attacks. Pretty much given the opportunity to take them down in a single swift strike, regardless of how tough or heavily cybered they may be. So it's obvious when I'm looking at this that a lot of the stuff that kind of maybe bogs down futuristic cyberpunk type games, it's been thought about in this game. This has got everything you need pretty much to set up an attack to be able to try to shoot somebody, and you will instantly give them pretty much I believe it's like a mortal wound. Yeah, they're mortally wounded on the spot. I'm not going to go through how you exactly do that. You can probably read it there, pick it up, and take a look yourself. The other thing that's different is called traumatic hits. So when you make an attack, it says the odds of a lethal attack inflicting such a hit depends on the target's trauma target. A normal creature's trauma target is 6. It can be modified by cyberware or heavy armor. Okay, so for some weapons, this might mean there's no chance of inflicting a traumatic hit if you have heavy armor or certain cyberware. For every weapon has a trauma die listed for it, along with a trauma rating multiplier. When an attack hits a living creature, the assailant rolls this die. So you're going to roll to attack, you're going to roll the trauma die. If the total is equal or greater than the victim's trauma target, it's a traumatic hit, and the total damage they inflict with the blow is multiplied by the trauma rating. So right here, the example, you roll a 6 on the knife's d6 trauma die. She inflicts a traumatic hit. She rolls d4 for the knife's damage, adds +1 for dexterity, and +2 for some mods to it. The total damage is 6, which is then multiplied by the knife's ×3 trauma rating for a total of 18 points of damage. The thug's belly is unzipped in a single smooth stroke, and he is no longer lose problem. So very interesting there to do big damage with that trauma die. Non-lethal attacks don't roll the trauma die, by the way. And you've got some rules here for less lethal attacks. So it's just some things to kind of think of, how this game's a little bit different. Some great examples of combat here. Several of them, which I like a lot. Now, this injury, healing, and system strain is interesting as well. So if you do first aid on somebody, your body can only take so much manipulation is what it talks about. This is the interesting way of adding cybernetics to your body and what that does and how it lessens the humanity in your body. So even healing you is going to add 1 system strain to the target, okay? And you're only going to be able to take as much system strain as you do constitution. So someone with a constitution of 13 could accumulate up to 13 points of system strain. So you say, well, what happens when I'm maxed out? Well, what's going to happen is healing often adds to target system strain, whether it's first aid or the effects of some biomedical compound. If the target is already at its maximum system strain, it can't handle the additional stress and gets no benefits from the effects or attempting healing. So that's how it affects you. You can only take so much with your system strain. And cyberware implants also usually permanently increase a subject's system strain. Points earned by implants or other permanent modifications cannot be shed. They remain until the implant is removed. So you're only going to be able to do so much healing your body, removing diseases and stuff like that. It's all going to build up system strain. So that's very interesting. Then we've got damaging cyberware. And I'm just going to start going through some parts here so you can see everything that this game's got. Damaging cyberware. It's got, major injuries, instant death, brain damage, stuff like that. Vehicle combat, of course, crashes, destruction, traumatic hits when it comes to them, ramming. Foot chases, vehicle chases, some great tables here. And then how you do your character advancement as well. You've got improved attack bonuses, gaining and spending skill points, purchasing improved attributes, and then getting new edges, crafting or modifying gear. You can get building conventional gear or factory mods, and then the tools of the trade, your encumbrance. So this is a lot, and this is a lot to show you here. You've got purchasing outfits, gear, lifestyle, and services, different lifestyle costs, common wages, a lot of stuff you would expect. Here's the stuff here about armor class. So we've got the soak. Now, one thing that armor does is it's got this damage soak. So the first time it takes damage in a scene, it's not going to take those like this reinforced clothing. It's got a damage soak of 2. You won't take the first 2 points of damage in that scene. So that's pretty cool. You can see it's obviously going to go up higher and higher and higher, and it will replenish in the next time that you come into combat with something. So you've got armor accessories. Here's weapons, and you can see here you've got your damage, your trauma die, and the trauma rating. So most of those are going to be ×3. The sniper rifle has ×4, of course. That's going to be pretty brutal. And has a trauma die of D10. Big stuff's going to have that, of course. And then like an unarmed attack is just going to be a trauma rating of ×1. Grenades, heavy weapons, armor and weapon mods, everything you expect, pharmaceuticals and street drugs, cyberware. So here we go with this. This is obviously going to be a big section here of the book. Implant complications, skill plugs, just to be able to pop in a new skill. Implantation complications. You've got cyberware systems, how to buy them, secondhand cyberware. You can see the system strain that builds up on these, such as the holdout cavity gives you 1 system strain. It's going to take away from your ability to heal and other things that affect your flesh body. Skin cyberware, limb, sensory, medical, nerve, whole bunch of stuff. Cyber decks, drones, drone fittings. I mean, just already, we're at page 80 and there's so much content here. It's very impressive. Vehicles. This could definitely be pretty much a go-to now for instead of having to deal with new systems, different systems. If you're already used to normal, D&D system, you can just go straight into this game with, of course, some added stuff here and there, like the trauma die and things like that. And then here we go, hacking. Always been a real tough one. I have not read this section all the way, but this can really be a lot of work. So I'm hoping that he has been able to find a way to make this easier for everybody, doesn't bog down the game, doesn't have to be a separate game that someone else is playing by themselves. But you can see here we've got program verbs, they do certain things, cyberspace actions, and an example of hacking, which is, of course, probably sorely needed. You've got demons and watchdogs, which, of course, are going to try to stop you when you're doing your hacking. This is kind of like black ice and stuff like that. So that's interesting. Network servers and architecture. An example network, very helpful. And then creating your dystopia. So a lot of stuff for themes and world building, creating your world. Just great. Great resource by itself. So, I mean, if you want to play a cyber game, pick this up. Building your districts. Boy, we're just going to keep going. We're at 126, creating megacorps. Look at this. Fantastic. Creating gangs, creating NPCs, creating and running missions, schemes, scheme goals, a lot of different examples, NPC operator teams. Ooh, boy. Yeah, you can see there's just a ton. It keeps going. Mission types: defense, espionage, murder, rescue, retrieval, sabotage, scouting, smuggling, theft, or roll twice. And then, again, some great stuff here. Espionage. Why can't they get it themselves? How obscure is the target? Why is it guarded information? And you can roll it up. It's got blackmail on a corporate executive. It points to very illegal activities. Very good stuff. Murder. Why must they die? Like that. Immortal insult or offense to someone. They piss somebody off. Rescue, retrieval, sabotage, scouting, smuggling, all the stuff I talked about. There it is. Created an intrusion mission. It tells about how you go through the steps of doing that. Very good. Playing the mission. The run, an example of play, mission reward and experience. Money, and getting loot and stuff like that. Heat. Whenever you build up a bunch of heat, people start to notice you a lot more. Shedding heat. Just great. So there it is. There's a bunch of your stats for your people in the game that you're going to go up against. Breaching team member, corp, or LEO, elite sniper. So you can see here it's going to have armor class is going to be for melee and range. Some armor is going to do different for ranged attacks. You've got your trauma target, like this right here. It says 8+. There's skill, there's save, and everything else. They've got their shock as well. Hackers and pilots. How to design enemies, choosing their hit dice, judging combat difficulty, cyber descriptions, and here's a whole thing about this city. And so, yeah, all the great plot here that he's created to try to give you some playground to do your cyber punking in. So we're almost there. Bit of a map here. Laying out the places for you to go. Mission seeds in all those different places is great. Mixing the other games together, such as mages and stuff like that, if you would like to try to create some sort of maybe Shadowrun type game. Armor from other games, using classes from other games. Very cool. And then we've got our index. And then look at all these Kickstarter backers. Huge. So there it is. I'm not going to scroll back up because it'd take me too long. I will let you know, though, that the stuff you get in the deluxe edition is cyberware quirks and features for particular megacore product lines, variant engineered human types for PCs who don't fit the baseline mold, optional rules for the psychological strain of cyber alienation, optional rules for cheap street cyber for those campaign settings where every goon with a knife has some wire beneath his skin, spellcasting, spirit summoning, and magical items for GMs who want to add a dash of magic into their cyberpunk world. And just a quick note on the art he has here at the bottom. He says, all art in this book was either made by myself or bought from an artist. Those filler pieces that were bought from Adobe stock were bought with a filler that excluded AI art. Unfortunately, not all artists respect the characterization. I have chosen to mark this product as containing AI generated art simply because I cannot absolutely guarantee that it is without it. So there it is. So yeah, Cities Without Number. Go pick it up. Seems great. Thanks.